Credit cards, whilst on the surface seems like a pretty straightforward topic, there's oftentimes a lot of confusion amongst beginners, especially since a lot of the credit card information online, either on YouTube or blog posts, is based on information coming from the American market. And whilst they indeed are talking about credit cards, which is the same product that I'm talking about here in Australia, some of the things that they talk about have a little bit of relevancy to us in Australia, whilst others are just flat out wrong. So today, let's debunk 6 of the most common credit card myths to make sure that you are using your credit cards properly, maximizing the value that you get out of them, and hopefully creating some great travel memories. The first and most common myth I hear all the time on my channel is that opening and closing credit cards often will result in you having a bad credit score. This myth is absolutely wrong, and if I had $1 for every time I saw that comment in one of my videos, I might have a couple $100. I mean, look, I don't get thousands of comments on my video, but this one is always one that I see pop up time and time again. Now, to help debunk this myth, firstly, let me show you my own credit score. So my Equifax score is 974 and my Experian is 816, both of which put me in the excellent category of credit card scores in Australia. Now, I've opened and closed dozens of credit cards over the last few years, and my credit score has never not been in the excellent category. Next, let me actually explain how your credit score is calculated in Australia, which will hopefully help debunk this myth. Now, in Australia, your credit score is largely determined by 3 main factors. There's the repayment history, which is first. Secondly, the number of credit applications. And then lastly, the number of credit accounts that you have open. Each of these have a different weighting towards your credit score as well. By far, the most important factor is your repayment history. It sounds simple, but simply by paying your bills on time is probably one of the most powerful things that we can do to improve our credit scores. On the flip side, late and missed payments will have a negative impact on your credit score. A strong repayment history is crucial to achieving a high credit score because it makes up around 60% of your total credit score. Secondly, the frequency and the number of credit inquiries can also impact your score. Yes, this does mean that each time you actually apply for a new credit card with a bank, the bank will conduct what is called a hard inquiry, where they request to see your credit report, and this does reduce your credit score. But it's actually not by that much. By my own tests and calculations, each hard inquiry roughly reduces your credit score by around 20 points, which isn't that much in the grand scheme of things and makes up around 10% of your score. Especially when closing your credit accounts also improves your credit score, which is the third factor. Your credit report will show all of the credit accounts that you've held in the last 2 years, and having too many open accounts can be a negative, as it's not uncommon for people to accumulate multiple credit cards over time. It's actually best to close any credit card accounts that aren't being used anymore, which, believe it or not, actually improves your credit score, which is why I always choose to close a credit card down before applying for a new one, because it helps offset the decrease in my credit score from the hard inquiry. Like the previous one, this one also roughly makes up around 10% of your credit score. Now, before we move on, remember how I was showing you my credit score before? Well, that was with the WeMoney app, who are the sponsors of today's video. If you're in Australia and you want a simple way to get on top of your finances, then you might want to check out WeMoney. WeMoney is a free Aussie finance app that connects all of your accounts in one place. Your bank accounts, credit cards, and loans, so you don't have to juggle through multiple apps and banks, and it's all right there in front of you. If you're someone who is focused on paying down your debts, then the debt tracker feature is a great way to consolidate all of your debts into one place, from your credit cards to personal loans, so that you can easily see where you stand month to month. It updates every month so you can see your progress and keep you motivated. And then there's the AI-powered Brightmatch that identifies how you can save with your debts by either consolidating your debts or by lowering the interest rates. WeMoney also automatically categorizes all of your transactions so you can quickly see which categories your money is mostly being spent in, so you can identify where you're overspending and where you can save. That visibility alone has helped me be more mindful with my spending habits. Whether your focus is paying off debt, saving for a holiday, or just finally sticking to a budget, WeMoney gives you the tools to make it all happen. It's all about making finances simple and empowering you to feel in control. So if you're ready to get on top of your money and improve your financial well-being, download the WeMoney app for free today and start taking charge of your future. Links will be down below. A second common myth that I see pop up on my channel is that Amex credit cards aren't any good since they aren't accepted anywhere and you always end up paying higher fees. Now, I might be a little bit biased here because personally I've been with Amex for a number of years now, and my wife and I use the Explorer and the Platinum Edge card as our keeper cards. But I will acknowledge that there are some truths to this one. Yes, Amex isn't as widely accepted as Visa or MasterCard, and yes, sometimes you might be charged a higher fee, but it doesn't mean that Amex credit cards aren't any good and you shouldn't get them. Now, compared to Visa and MasterCard, which are pretty much accepted everywhere in Australia, Amex unfortunately isn't. However, from my personal experience, this issue has become less and less of a problem over the last couple of years as Amex are consistently adding new places that accept their card. Just last year, they added over 610,000 new places that accept Amex in Australia. And for pretty much most of your major retailers, they do accept Amex. Now, there are still some major retailers that don't accept Amex, like Audi, but this is why we should always have at least 2 credit cards, one with Amex and one with either Visa or MasterCard, so that we can use in those scenarios. Now, onto the myth around higher fees. Yes, this is true that you can be charged higher fees if you decide to use your Amex credit card. This is due to the fact that American Express charges merchants a higher interchange fee, which is essentially what shops and small business owners need to pay American Express so that they can accept their credit cards. But the reason why American Express charges higher interchange fees is because American Express cards often come with greater benefits attached. You have more flexibility on how you can redeem your reward points. With certain cards, you'll also receive annual travel credits. And with the most premium card, like the Amex Platinum, it will even come with a wide range of credits, kind of like a coupon book that you can then redeem throughout the year. Now, not all places will also charge higher fees. Larger retailers don't pass on the interchange fee to consumers like you and I, and instead they absorb the cost themselves. So you can always pick and choose when you use and don't use your American Express credit card based on the fees or what is accepted at payment. Myth number 3 is that you need a bunch of credit cards in order to come out ahead with frequent flyer points. And just like the last myth, this one is completely false. While I have opened and closed a ton of cards myself, honestly, in my experience, after you get past 3 or more credit cards, you're quickly going to start overlapping benefits. At that point, the only advantage of getting a new credit card is to earn more sign-up bonuses, which is really only necessary if you're like, I don't know, running a YouTube channel that talks about credit cards and you're wanting to constantly make new videos. But for most users who are looking to get 1 or 2 free trips a year, then a 2 to 3 card setup where you're slowly raking in points on everyday spending and then occasionally swapping a card out to take advantage of an upsized sign-up bonus, that makes sense for you, is more than enough to save yourself some serious cash on your next trip. Now, to make sure you're in the know about the latest credit card offers, then sign up to my free weekly newsletter, where every week I share a credit card deal of the week, and I'll also share tips and tricks and news updates with the goal of helping you optimize your everyday finances and to save more money. The 4th common myth I hear is that you need to keep your credit utilization low, ideally below 30%. This is a common recommendation made online as a way to increase your credit score. However, this one is also entirely false. It does apply to people in the US, however, it doesn't apply to us in Australia. As I highlighted earlier, credit utilization isn't a factor when it comes to determining your credit score. This is because your credit balance aren't actually reported by your credit provider, and so won't be factored into your credit score. The goal should always be to pay your statement balance in full every single month to not have to pay any interest. You don't need to pay earlier to reduce your balance, and you don't need to pay on a specific date as well. Just pay by the due date on your monthly statement, or even better, just set up an automatic direct debit so you don't even need to think about it. The fifth myth is that you can get a retention offer from your credit provider if you call them up. Unfortunately, this one is false and isn't true anymore. When calling up to cancel your credit card, it was previously common practice for the banks to offer you reduced fees, bonus points, or other benefits for you to keep your card. But credit card retention offers such as annual fee waivers are no longer legal in Australia. When cancelling a credit card, banks are now required to action the request without suggesting an alternative or attempting to retain the customer. The changes were a result of a federal government reforms around 5 years ago to the National Consumer Credit Protection Act. And under the new credit laws, credit providers must allow consumers to terminate their credit card contracts at any time, and there must be a way to do this online as well. The last myth is that you need a credit card in order to develop a good credit rating. And with this one, I'd say there's some truth to it. Having a credit card and demonstrating that you can make payments on time and in full each month will definitely improve your credit score and will make yourself look more favorable to banks as they see that you can make your repayments on time. However, a credit card is not the only way to develop a positive credit score. There are other ways to improve your credit score without taking on any additional debt. Simply by paying off your mobile phone plan or your utility bills can also help you build your credit rating. So those are the 6 credit card myths that I commonly see and hear on my channel here. Let me know if there's anything else that I might have missed that you've heard of before. And if you've enjoyed the video or learned anything new, make sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel because that really does help me out here. And YouTube thinks that you might be interested in this video, so maybe I'll see you there. If not, I'll see you in a future video.